I love to talk, film, discuss, to critique.
Yes, we did. What is that? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, Blood Splatter Chatter. We are live on a Friday night post Thanksgiving, here to talk about two fucking bangers, in my opinion. You guys are not ready. I just told Stu, you guys are not ready for how much I'm about to fucking jerk these movies off, man. We were just talking about it before we get into it. We were just talking about how we cover this on DHS, and I had the pleasure of doing it with Rock and Robbie and Link a couple years ago when we did Smile 1, not 2. But I went back and checked out our reviews on that a little bit, and I know I'm way more high on it. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing if your guys' opinions have changed. Link, I know we've been through a horror renaissance ourselves in the past couple years, if that's even close to the right way of saying that, but very excited for this conversation. So what up? Welcome back to the show, Mr. Rock and Robbie.
Dude, super excited to be here. I am slightly disappointed you didn't leave us just smiling there for like longer though, man. I was expecting a good like minute and a half. I was ready. I was committed to that bit, dude. We should have really talked about that one. We should have talked that out a little bit more.
I would have shut it down, man. I thought it was fucking perfect.
Super excited to be here, man. Last minute, but man, yeah. I'm excited because I've been wanting to revisit Smile, and I wanted to watch Smile 2. I missed it in the theater, and very excited to have this opportunity to chat with you fine gentlemen about this these movies.
Hell yeah. I'm super stoked that you were able to make it, my brother. And Mr. Stu, who wasn't planning to make it, but out of nowhere, he's like, I gotta fucking do it. So what up, man? I'm glad you pulled it
what up. I'm glad to be here, dude. And yeah, this was such a enjoyable experience with both of these films. Watch both of these yesterday, believe it or not. These are great back-to-back.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, glad to be here with you fellas.
I feel that, and you might be leaving us a little bit early, depending on how long we run, because it's the return of the hashtag Blame Fable show tonight, going on at 8:00 Central Standard Time. So little less than an hour and a half from now, you will be over there with a bunch of the homies talking.
And I just want everybody to know that I plan on crashing the fuck out of that hangout show. Just so you know.
I love it.
Even better.
Looking forward to it.
And that's Steph, my brother. Super excited. I looked up your score for Smile. Do you remember what it was?
Mid. I remember not being too impressed.
It was you gave it a 3.69, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. And your main takeaway was that you liked it. It was well done, but it was like you and Robbie were both kind of saying like it was a lack of originality was one of the main like issues that both of you kind of found with it, which I get, because like for people that haven't seen these movies, it's very much it's like a Freddy movie. It's like a Pennywise movie. It's any kind of movie where the antagonist is getting into your mind and manipulating what you're seeing and what you're feeling, and you don't know if you're saying it. They're kind of gaslighting you a little bit. And also,
I remember saying that it felt like it was directed by Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, I could, dude. That's what I mean. First of all, I think Mike Flanagan's one of the top. He's a little more generic than a lot, but he's one of the best out there.
But I think I meant that as a bad thing,
right? Right. I'm just kind of blown away, and we'll get into Smile 1 first. So here was my experience with the movie. When I hit you guys up, I'm remembering like I could barely remember the movie. I know I liked it. I know I liked it a little bit more than you guys, Robbie and Link. And I'm like, you guys don't even have to rewatch that one. You could just it's not even necessary. I'm like, let's really focus on Smile 2. And then I started watching the movie, and I'm like half hour in. I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like, damn, this movie must like really fall apart at somewhere, or else I would have remembered this better. Like scene after scene, I'm like, holy shit, what a banger. Then it gets into the investigation part, and I'm like, this is where they lose me usually. This is the best procedural part of any movie like this, like ever. I think like what they do with the investigation, some of the bits that we get and the way that goes together, fucking incredible. Sosie Bacon, son of or daughter of Kevin Bacon, incredible. like one of the top fucking performances of all time in a horror movie by a female lead. And then the end, I'm like, oh, the end must suck. Like, maybe this end fucking sucks. It gets to the end, I'm like, what? Fucking incredible. Like, I have no notes, dude. Like, I have no notes. I hope you guys have some notes so that we have something to pick apart in this movie, or at least that I could defend. Because, like I said, I've got both fists ready, just like a cow being milked for these films, dude. I was like seriously blown away by how good they are, in my opinion. The look, this like the scariness, the performances, like everything across the board, kind of floored me. So, what you think? First of all, what up to the chat, Brandon? Appreciate you being here, brother. Haven't seen you in quite some time. Station, he says, I've been a big horror movie kick since before Halloween. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think of Smile. Hell yeah, brother. And then my brother Fable, as we said,
Fable Station, bro.
Guys, catch his show, The Return of the Blame Fable Show, at 8 o'clock Central Time. And then EZ, my brother from another. What up? Fable saying Smile so good. Yeah, he was high on it too when we covered it on DHS. So all right, I've went on long enough. And let's get into it. The only thing I'll say, fun fact wise, this is Parker Finn's first film, and it was based on the short that he made, Laura Hasn't Slept, which is very, very similar to the opening scene that you get in Smile. It's got the same actress, same premise, a little twist on it, but it's excellent too. And it looks like a big budget film made on pennies. And that's a big reason why he got the budget that he got from being a first-time filmmaker, because it's like a $17 million budget made over like 230 some million dollars. So huge success, which is why we got the second one. But he's a guy like I'm very, very excited to see more of. And he seems like for now, he's just down to keep making these Smile movies.
Yeah. I loved also how he brought the girl from that original short as the girl like who was first, like the first diagnosis, who kind of set everything off in this movie. I thought that was a cool bridge between those two films. And dude, her paranoia and all that was really that was a game changer, man.
Totally. Her performance
is
absolutely such a good way to start the movie, man. Kenneth Burr, what up, my brother? How you doing, man? Robbie, how was the revisit for Smile 1 for you, dude?
All right, so I remember you talking to me like, oh man, like I would love it if you joined us for this show. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can make it happen. I remember looking at my girlfriend being like, yo, Verna wants me to do the show on Friday, and I'd like to because I really want to watch Smile 2, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, oh, you should totally do it, right? And then you were all like, oh, don't worry, you don't need to rewatch Smile 1 or anything like that. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, yeah, I do, because I don't remember it. Like, I didn't remember anything about it. Like, I remembered the premise, and that was it. Like, so I was like, I definitely got to revisit it. And I was able to fit it in. I still haven't watched Double Impact, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie that we're covering on Monday, but I'm glad that I took the time to revisit Smile. And so what I did was I watched Smile and I put together my thoughts. And then tonight before the show, I went back and revisited that DHS that we all did. And I was like, oh, really? That's what I thought. So back in DHS, in the DHS show, I was enamored by the main actor's performance. I thought she was amazing, right? What's her name? Something Bacon? What's her name?
Sosie Bacon.
Sosie Bacon. I was enamored by her performance. This time, I thought she was boring, man. I'll be honest with you. I thought she was boring.
Wow.
And the last time, I really loved and appreciated the theme of the movie. And I felt the same about the theme here with the rewatch, right? Like the idea of like trauma and mental health, and the fact that she's a therapist and she's trying to work through it, but she's got this shit with her mom. It's about generational trauma as well. And I liked all that stuff. But this time, and this is the second time I've seen the first Smile, right? And so now I have a second watch perspective. And watching it this time, here's what I feel. I feel like it's so crazy because when we covered this on DHS, I was super high on the main character on that movie. I was like, she did a great job. I even said on that show, one of the best performances I've ever seen from a female lead in a horror film.
I would agree with your old self.
All right.
For sure.
This time, I think her performance is good. It's not her performance. This time on the rewatch, I think the movie structure is really great for a first time watch. Not necessarily so much for a second time watch. And the reason why I would say that is because this is one of those movies. It's a curse movie. It's like One Missed Call. It's like The Ring. You know, apparently It Follows, which I've still have yet to see, but apparently that's the same type thing where there's a curse where something passes from person to person, right?
Or Fallen, which we mentioned on the last one, and Steph, you and I were just talking about like a few days ago.
The Denzel Washington movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great movie. John Goodman?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a great fucking movie. Yeah, I haven't thought about that in years, dude.
You thought about it when we talked about Smile 2 years ago on DHS.
Well, apparently I did. I didn't watch that bit tonight because I had like 10 minutes to kind of rush through. And it's really cool, by the way, when I flip through like a DHS and I'm trying to see my thoughts, I know when I'm speaking because my arms start doing this.
Yeah.
Wait, which is really fun. No, but my experience this time was like, all right, we as the audience know what's up. Now, maybe I know what's up sooner the second time because I've seen the movie, right?
Right.
But I felt like we were caught up way before the main character was, right? And it made the movie feel a little bit dull. It made the movie feel slower to me than it did last time. And I do think the movie is a little long. I think there's some stuff that can be cut out. I love the opening. I love the ending. I love the concept. And this one really cracked me up because on DHS I said, this is one of the most effective jump scares in my life. My soul jumped out of my body when she's like listening to that audio and then that fucking entity comes up right next to her or whatever. And like, all right. So what's funny is that really got me 2 years ago. This time I'm watching the movie. It gets me again, dude. I do the exact same reaction. I fucking kicked the air. I jumped back in the fucking couch and I shouted out a fucking Manfeld scream or some shit like, or the Mannheim scream. Like I just was like, ah, like it scared the fucking shit out of me. But this time, honestly, I do think it's a little slow. It gets a little bit ahead of itself by what I mean is the audience knows what's going on before the main character does, which just kind of drags it out a little bit. Maybe that's a second time watch thing, right? Because I know from the very get-go that this is a curse passed on, but I also think that that's like it's inherent to the concept. On the rewatch, I wish there was a little bit more something else added to the movie. Now, my big criticism back in the 2 years ago was that it felt too much like every Blumhouse, Mike Flanagan horror movie that came out over the last 5 to 10 years. That didn't bother me so much. Like, and I even said back then, like, the current aesthetic of horror. Okay, what's the difference between saying, oh, we love 80s movies that do that perfect aesthetic of what an 80s horror movie is, right? Or a 90s horror. Each decade has their own horror aesthetic. And right now we're in one, and Smile is a great example of that, but it actually utilizes that aesthetic better than I thought 2 years ago. I think the performance is still really great from Sosie Bacon, but I do think that the movie feels on my rewatch a little bit long. And like I said, mostly because I feel like the audience gets ahead of the movie. And that's what I will say. Like, I liked it, but I may have liked it just a slight bit less than I liked it before.
Right. And obviously we'll get into this when we get into 2. I don't want to get into too much, but that was kind of my fear with that one. Everybody in the audience knows the premise at that point. So I'm like, how are they gonna, stretch that? And it didn't bother me in that. I will say pacing is it's very individualistic thing. Like, I don't know. To me, there wasn't any of that. And like I said, I usually check out for these investigation moments. I think what I liked about it was, even though I knew what they were going to do, the fact that we saw the one guy on film burn himself at the gas station, and that's like her really putting the pieces together. It's a cool ass way to do that rather than her just stumbling across some shit. We get to see Carla from fucking Scrubs.
That's right.
And some other good moments.
Turk from Daredevil, right? That's the dude who she goes to visit in jail.
Okay.
Right?
That guy. That was an incredible scene.
I love the dead cat in the box scene, right? Because I'm like, first of all, major shout out to quantum physics. That's dope. Right? Schrodinger's cat, right?
Yeah.
But like, I forgot about that. Like, that was a moment I forgot about for some reason. And it's like, this movie does have some really great bits. It just feels like on the rewatch, though, it's like, it's too long for a rewatch. Like, if it would have been shortened just a little bit, it would be a more punchy rewatch. But this is a movie that really leans heavy into you not knowing what is fully happening and developing until, like, once you're ahead of the narrative, the movie can be a little bit draggy for me, and not in a good way. Like not like men coming up dressed in fucking tits and high heels, like spinning around and shit. Not in a good draggy way.
Hell yeah! All right, Mr. Stu, who I know I talked to you just a little bit. You seem pretty damn impressed by this movie. But what was your overall thoughts? And try to if you can specifically disagree with Robbie at any point, I appreciate that. So go right ahead.
I mean, I can understand where he's coming from on the rewatch, but I think, like, for me as a first time watcher, it was fantastic. It was great. I love, it reminded me, like you guys said, there's all that controversy about like all these elements it's borrowed, right? But it did remind me of like the Babadook and the way that we saw this female character kind of completely break down and lose it. And, elements It Follows for sure.
Oh yeah.
And all that stuff, but at the same time, I feel like it definitely was its own thing, and it pulled off its own original creation. So I don't want to discount it in any way. Yeah, and I think Sosie Bacon did an incredible job in the main role. Like Fable said, dude, the scene with the cat, when she picks it up and she's got it, right? And like, first of all, like she thinks it's still alive. So like she's finding out it's dead along with the rest of this party.
Right.
Just the way her everybody just accusing her, everybody, like the way she projects that is just like accepts it and projects it as fantastic. But I thought it was fantastic, man. I think, and like you said, when it gets the procedural phase, I think it could have lingered there a little bit longer, but still, it was enough for me. I loved the ex-boyfriend cop and all that, and how he tied into the situation. I thought, like, how all the characters came together one way or the other. A-Train from The Boys, like as her fiance, as her disaffected fiance, you know what I mean? I loved, like, when she told him he's only supportive when it's convenient or when it's easy or whatever. I felt like that was such a great assessment of his character. But yeah, dude, it was like you said, like Robbie said, the jump scares, like it did some tropey things, but it did it really well to where it didn't feel tropey. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like both in theme and in execution on screen. But I loved a lot of the cinematography, the way the shots were long and lingered, and dude, the reveal at the end is worth the price of admission for me.
Hell
like
yeah.
That, and the way they mixed practical effects with virtual was fantastic. But just the reveal of that demon was A1. So I loved it. I do think, and I do like how the paranoia is a swirling whirlpool at the end. You don't know what's real and what's not. And I do like how that's kind of like a bridge between the two movies. I think that the second one does a lot of things better than the first, but this one was still impressive nonetheless.
I feel like I should, for full disclosure, I had taken a week off from smoking marijuana, right? Like I was telling you that. And my scores were starting to plummet on all things. And I said, fuck it. I'm like, I'd made it a week. And I'm not, new plan. I only smoke at night. I'm that kind of smoker now. So anyway, I smoked for the first time in a week right before I watched this movie. And it ripped the fucking skull off my head, and it fucking massaged my brain. It did everything I fucking wanted. So that may have had an effect.
Was that the movie or was it the weed? Right?
It was both. Right? Exactly.
That's one thing I do want to say real quick is because Stu made me think of this, and I don't think I really commented on this on DHS. Maybe I did a little bit. I just didn't catch that bit, but I don't like the CG effects in this movie. That's something that I really did not like in this movie. It's off-putting. I do not like, I don't care if the practical effects suck. At least I know it's real, right? Like if it looks like a video game, like if it's Uncanny Valley, if it's in that thing, it throws me out of the movie, man.
Me too.
It really does.
It sucks because
I thought at the end it was practical. It was practical and virtual.
There's bits of it. Parker Finn said one of the reasons why he wanted to become a filmmaker in the first place was because of practical effects and practical effects movies. And that's why he wants to use them as much as possible. He's like, but we mix the CG with it, and god damn it, just looks fucking perfect. And I'm like, every time there's CG blood, it's like, give the practical effects guy a raise and fire the fucking blood guy that's doing the CG. Like when Kumar rips his face off, it's like, what? it just looks so badass when you're stabbing the guy with the knife and he's screaming in her face. That patient, that scene fucking is crazy to me. But then when he rips his face off, it's like, why? Like, it looked really bad. And some of that carries over into the sequel as well. But like, he loves practical effects. So I didn't really get that.
Well, he needs to Damien Leone the fuck up and like really dive in, and Smile 3 is what I'm saying.
Right. And they have the budget for it for sure, because he's making money hand over fist with this franchise. But Steph, as I said, a 3.69 a couple years ago on your first viewing. So I remember some of the issues that we had with like the supporting cast and all that. But and the other thing I want to mention before I send it to you, Kyle Gallner. You and I just did Strange Darling. Now, the first time, he's the guy, he's the boyfriend, he's the ex-boyfriend in this movie, and he stars in Strange Darling. Definitely check it out.
Not A-Train.
Not A-Train, the non-A-Train. We can call.
I got surprised again that A-Train was in this movie, just like it did the first time.
We'll call him the token white guy in the movie, the token mustachioed guy.
He's the white dude is in every Mike Flanagan movie.
When I first saw this movie, I'm like, oh, this is that fucking douchebag from A Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I do not like this guy. And now when I watch this movie, I'm like, oh, that's my boy from Strange Darling. I love this guy. So that like really had an effect on me a lot. He's like, I don't know why I hated him. I think he's excellent in the movie. But what'd you think, Steph?
So very valid points. I gave it a 3.69 last time. Slightly higher than that, just ever so slightly. We'll save the score, but you know, I do think I kind of feel the same as I felt the first time. I like it a little bit better. Like the Kyle dude, that definitely boosted it for me.
Yeah.
Seeing him in a different light. I think Miss Bacon did a fantastic job. But I feel like it is still kind of like, it's a fine movie. It's well made, and for the fact that it's, you know, written, directed, first timer, that really impressed me. You know that, but I still feel like it's a, I don't want to say tropey, but like not original, but it's like the perspective is like been done so many times of, and it's still a good. I mean, it's a good movie, but I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't click with me. It's like because people think she's a kook, you know, she can't trust her own senses. I think that lends itself better to the second movie. We'll get to that, but I will say, okay, the jump scares, I will give him credit for that though. Okay, so the first time, it was the one where she whispers in her ear. I kind of conquered that one this time, right? You know, I was kind of proud of myself. Maybe this one, you know, it's not. But there was one that got me this time that didn't get me the first time, and that was when she's getting done talking to her sister, and she's like in her car, and you see the sister come out on the porch, but you don't. And she's like, yeah, she walks up to the window of the head. I was like, oh shit, you know, that caught me off guard. I was like, oh, you son of a bitch. You know, the film got me, so I got to give it credit for that.
And it pisses you off, right? Because you're like, I've seen this shit before. Like, that shouldn't have gotten me again.
Especially when you know it's coming. It's just the timing of it. Like, you don't know exactly when it's coming, though.
But so I appreciate that, but I maybe it could just be like a personal gripe, where, you know, not to get it too far into it, but I did, you know, we kind of, the perspective of her character is, I think it was taken, the perspective of character is more unique in the second film, I feel. And in this one, it's like, you've kind of seen this been done before. Like, an average lady can't trust her senses. People think she's crazy. She's really not crazy.
Right.
The effects were,
I get that. I just kind of look at it as like a type of horror movie. It's like a subgenre of horror. Psychological, gaslight horror. And I get that.
You know what? It's crazy because it's like, shout out to her dad, but it's kind of, the role is similar to like a Stir of Echoes type of thing, you know, where he's really kind of, not crazy, but people think he's losing his goddamn mind. But the effects were a mixed bag for me. I did like the final design of the creature. I remember it reminded me of Barbaric, which is on Hulu, by the way. Check it out if you haven't seen it. But it didn't, you know, it didn't really hit me. Like, I don't think they lingered on it enough, maybe, because I remember thinking it was cool when we saw her creeping up behind her at the end in the house. But then it's like, we see close-ups of her face, the creature's face, and like she's set on fire within like, you know, 5 minutes. So I felt like that was a little kind of a cop out. You know, I would have like appreciated seeing more of her. This, I got to chalk this one up to being like, it's like I told you guys before, ghost stories aren't really my thing. Ghost movies.
I was wondering, I was thinking of that because it plays with all the same like
The
ideas,
sense.
especially like cinematically what they're doing, like
Yeah.
the atmosphere of a ghost story and a jump scare James Wan feel. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
Well, it's
Yep.
like this is even a subgenre of the ghost story subgenre, right? Because this is
Yeah.
the curse ghost story kind
right.
of thing, right?
Yeah, like
You
the
know?
ring.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we've seen this in The Ring. It's like she's got so many dead, and the curses just like fucking with her over the time
Right.
until
But my
her.
thing is like I like this way more than The Ring. Like that, you know what I mean? It's just like it's an improvement on The Ring in my opinion. It looks
I
cooler.
get you.
And
I could
Yeah.
dig on I could agree with that on The Ring, but
right.
Ringu I think does a better job, and then Ju-on I think is one of the best curse movies we've ever gotten, right?
Right.
The
I
original
mean,
Japanese
I,
Grudge.
I'll say I like this more than all. I haven't even seen The Grudge yet, but I do like this more than Ringu too. Like for me personally, it's
Well, it
just
does
like
show you
it's
like
snappier.
it does show you that even today we still have this J horror like
Oh yeah.
influence, right? Like, and it's still a very, very big deal, even though the idea of J horror has kind of died down a little bit.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't remember that, right? Like in this new generation, like 20-year-olds, like nowadays,
It was
like, do they
days.
know what J horror was? Like, or
Mhm.
what a big fascination that was like 20 years ago, you
Does the
know? So
J
like
stand for James Wan? Is that the
stands for
J?
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's kind of what it is. I mean, I think I said that when we did Ringu. Is like we're still living in that era, and people have kind of forgot where the influence really came from. It's all these ghost stories and Insidious and The Conjuring, all that. Like we wouldn't have got all that if it wasn't for J horror. And those are the movies that I think are inspiring a lot of the Blumhouse type, more
Yeah.
mainstream jump scare
That
driven
being said,
movies.
on Shudder right now, there's a new documentary about J horror apparently, and Arrow just put out a new J horror box set. So I'm excited to dive into that documentary. I saw it there the other day, and
Hell yeah.
so I hope that more people start appreciating this stuff because you don't hear many people talk about Ringu like the original, like
Mhm.
and Ju-on and like the work of Takashi Miike and all that kind of stuff. And that's why I love what we do on our different channels is that we uncover this stuff. And there may be a 21-year-old out there who's never heard of
That's what they've been working.
Ju-on or Ringu and thinks The
Right.
Ring is an original movie or something like that, right? So
Right. No, hell yeah, man. Steph, did you have any more before we move on?
Oh no, but I don't want to sound like I was ragging on it, but I kind of feel like they was slightly boosted. I will say that overall, but it was for different reasons. Kyle, my man, Kyle from Strange Darling, mostly.
Right.
I was about to be like, you said it's elevated this time, but then you were like, however.
Yeah.
You're just like-
Yeah, my man's boosted it. I still stand that I feel like he should have been, not the ex and should have stayed the boyfriend. And because maybe it's because he's a better character now in later seasons, but he's such a fucking pansy dick in the boys at the beginning, A Train.
well, who
when
wouldn't suck Homelander's dick if you think you're about to fucking die? You know what I'm saying? Aside from that, though, he's boring in this movie, and he's an asshole. Like he's like a self-righteous. He's like self-righteous, and he's selfish. He's a selfish, self-righteous kind of prick.
This
Yeah.
is something we talked about this when we talked about it before, and I went into the movie being conscious of it that none of us liked their relationship. But I think there's a couple things. My wife pointed one of them out. Like one of the reasons why the main character Rose is with him is because she's built up these walls from her childhood trauma, and he's not really in love with her. He doesn't even want to connect with her, so she can keep those walls up.
she's already cut off him.
I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Damn, that makes a lot of sense, dude.
Yeah.
That's actually brilliant. Yeah.
And I'm also, it's like, why is he so unlikable? Part of it, I'm like, man, we should have got maybe a scene with him early on to show them normal before things, go into crazy mode and shit. But what are you going to open up with some fucking, A Train scene instead of the scene that they open up the movie with? Like, obviously not.
They needed to open up with that scene, right? But
right.
yeah.
So the trauma has to happen.
We should have
right
seen
away.
a little bit more of the tender nature of their relationship, right?
They took out a scene. First, I think they partially made him so unlikable also so that we think, oh, she'll fucking kill him or she'll kill her therapist because nobody's likable. You're like, oh, she's got to kill someone to get out of this. She'll kill the boyfriend. She'll kill her. But the other thing is that I was gonna say is there's a deleted scene where they, after the incidents that night, they go out to eat and you see more of them like at a different party where you're hanging out with his friends and shit. And I don't know about you guys, but I never like deleted scenes in a movie. I never give a shit. It's the first thing my wife wants to see, and every time I'm like, well, I see why they cut that. There's 2 scenes that they cut out of here. Fire, like super fire. There's a badass scene with Sosie in the bathroom, and there's some other. There's everything I saw. I was like,
never seen that, right? It's
it was
like,
like
and
freaky and
I already
scary.
feel like this movie's overly long. So like, there's elements of the investigation I think that can be cut down, trimmed down. But then again, does that hinder a first time watch?
Yeah, maybe.
Right. And what are you aiming for? Like in a movie like this, where it's a curse movie, where you're trying to like lead in, it's a curse and an investigation ghost story. Right. So there's got to be a weird like line that you got to walk and tread, right? Where you want to make it rewatchable, but you also want to make it really exciting for the first time.
Right.
This one leans more into the first time watch for me.
Right.
And there's more that they could have done to really, I would have liked to see that, because you see, like when he first is comforting her, he seems like a good dude, but it's the only scene, but you don't see a follow-up to that. If you see a scene maybe where he's like, they're all hanging out and he's paying attention to her, and maybe then we like, but he just came across as an asshole to me in this movie, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, that dude's an asshole. Like, why are you talking to him? Like, have you tried polyamory? Maybe you should, you know, call up the Rockin' Robbie, man. Like, you know, we can give you what you're lacking.
That's that's what I'm saying. Like, it almost felt like his role was not necessarily a throwaway, because it's like you could have maybe erased her having a boyfriend and had the film just like having her and the Kyle dude they're still separated or whatnot, broken up. But there's just that way that would imply as well that she's more like maybe they broke up because she's emotionally closed off.
Right.
You know, you
Which
can
is
still
what
get that across.
She says that to him and everything. I think part of that is, and again, we'll get into it when we get to the second, but there's something that Parker Finn is saying about like when the shit hits the fan, you find out who your real people that you can count on are. Because as soon as the shit goes south, she goes to her ex-boyfriend. And the same thing happens in the second one. She calls her old assistant and shit right away. So there's definitely something to be said that he's trying to say there. But let's go ahead. Let's go around and do this semi quickly so we can get into Smile 2. But Robbie, my brother, any other thoughts you have on this thing and your rating out of 5? You guys in the chat, hello down there. What up? Let me know your thoughts on Smile 1 and your rating out of 5.
All right. So on DHS, I gave it a 3.5, right? And I said that I really liked the theme and the message of the movie. I really liked the performance. On the rewatch, I still love the theme, but I'd like the performance a little bit less, right? But it's because I feel like I don't think that this movie treats the audience like we're stupid, but it doesn't really put a lot out there for the rewatch. That's not like let's talk about comics, right? Watchmen is a great comic book to read, right? I'm sure if you're out there, you've never even read a comic, you probably have heard of the Watchmen, right? The reason why that's so good is because so many elements are put in that work that you don't realize the first time and you realize the second time. Right. I didn't have that happen to me rewatching Smile, right? So that actually makes it less of a movie for me, right? Like if I'm impressed by something on the first time, and a 3.5 means a movie I'm going to watch and I'm going to watch this movie again. Like it's good. It's a good, solid movie. A 3.5 out of 5 is a 7 out of 10. That's a really high rating, right?
It's a solid 7, I call it.
It's a solid 7, right? But this time I'm going to lower my score just a little bit because I felt like I was ahead of the plot. It made it boring. I feel the movie's long when it doesn't need to be long. And maybe it could still be 2 hours long, but maybe with some of the investigation trimmed down and some more of those elements punched in earlier where we see that her and A-Train, like why that relationship exists. Maybe we see a little bit more there, right? I don't fault her performance on the rewatch. I fault the script. So it's still a movie I think is good and I like it, but this time I'll give it 3 out of 5.
Wow.
I'll go from a 3.5 to a 3 on this movie, yo. I do like it. It's got some exceptional jump scares. Here's the other thing. Where's the score in this movie? There wasn't a moment where the music moved me.
There's so much in the second, and I watched it twice since I've watched this one, that I'm like, well, shit, is this what they were doing in the first one? Because this is fire. And I couldn't really remember.
The second
well, I was told not to compare it to the first one.
No, I know.
Right? So you can cleanly clip it out. But I'll tell you this. They get that fucking memo in part 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
but
for sure.
There's no like
better
music
than
connection. The emotional connection dampens and not deepens after rewatch for me.
Right.
But it is a movie that I do think that the sequel elevates a little bit. Right?
And it's got higher ratings.
I'm still going to say a 3. A 3 to me is like a good, solid movie. I'm glad I watched it. Maybe I won't buy it. But maybe I'll buy it now after watching Saw 2. But I mean, Smile 2, not Saw 2. Saw 2 has nothing to do with Smile. But
once you see Strange Darling, you'll want to add it to your collection.
I need to watch that one because it's the dude with the goatee that doesn't quite connect, right? That's that guy.
Yeah.
He never aged, you know.
And you're right. What's the fucking newer movie that he's in that you just mentioned like not too long ago? Verno?
Strange Darling.
No, another one.
A Friday.
He's in Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
Yeah.
He's the fucking douchebag in that movie, right?
Such a bummer in that movie, man.
Yeah. Fuck that movie.
I know.
Right? But yeah, I'll give Smile a 3. I just do think it's a little dull on my rewatch.
I could not disagree fucking more.
I'm
glad.
Then
again, I was fucking floored by it. Fable says I got to rewatch it. You guys got me wanting to really watch it again. I don't remember what I gave it either. I'm gonna guess it was in the 4 range. I feel like it was. I saw you commenting on it, and your comments seemed like they were like you were giving it pretty high praise, but I didn't actually catch your score. Stu, my brother, where you at on it, dude?
I think it's a 4 out of 5 for me. It definitely lives in the shadow of its sequel, I feel like, but it's strong on its own. It's got incredible performance from Sosi, great jump scares, great cinematography, and I love the ending. So, and I loved, some of the themes and bridges that it connects with the second one. So 4 out of 5 for me. For sure.
Hell yeah, you're almost right. All right, missing link, my brother. We're getting there. I feel like we're gonna dip back down. Where are you at on it?
So, I said slightly, right? Because I remember my man's Kyle. I would go with 3.75. I'm still, I still kind of feel the same. I was able to appreciate it a little bit more, certain elements of it, but everything that I had a problem with in the first one was pretty much redeemed in the second, so yeah, I think it will appeal to people of that genre because this is like a genre and first watchers, but after that, like I think, not to get too into it, but it's like I personally didn't really like the procedural too much in this one, but I think it was explored way more interesting in the second one.
I can't wait to get into that then. Yeah, that's cool. So a 3.75. Can you guys guess what I'm gonna give it? I'll give it a
5.
Fucking 6 or 7, dude. Like I'm watching, like I said, you guys know how I do. Usually I'll take notes and I'll be like, opening scene, I just put a fire emoji. Like my note looks like it's gonna fucking start an inferno over here. There's just nothing but fire straight down the fucking thing. The opening scene, like we didn't mention it that much, but like it's a super iconic, like wow, what a way to open up a movie with both these performances, in my opinion. Like her performance is fucking crazy. The when she comes home and now that person, Laura, is at her house, she drops the glass, it's subtle, but like it's raising up. Then the cat bit, just her missing her cat. Like I felt that emotionally, and her world's starting to fall apart. Now her fucking cat's missing, and then the way she finds the cat, and I'm like, wow. And then the bit with the head falling down, and that's all within the first 35 minutes. Then we get, and I guess this is probably the biggest part where I seem to disagree with you guys, or where I felt differently about it. The procedural bit, which I've already mentioned, I think it's one of my favorites in a movie that has a procedural bit. And most movies that have like that element, they're 2 hours long. Like The Ring is 2 hour long. Most of the Italian giallo is around 1:45 to 2 hours. It's kind of what you get when you have that bit in the movie. And the therapist fucking coming to her house, the therapist getting all creepy with a smile and getting in her face, like
That's
we're
Calamity
almost
Jane,
there.
by the way, right? From Deadwood.
Deadwood, yeah.
Oh, okay. And then just the ending, like the ending might have dragged on a little bit at times, but personally, I love not just like the practical effects and the way that we see the monster like crawl into her mouth, that specific shot, and the way that it's lit is so fucking dope. And then Kyle showing up at the end, Kyle Gallner showing up, spoiler alert. And it's like, oh, you son of a bitch. Like it's such a perfect like twist, and I love a bleak ending. It's like you thought you were out and go fuck yourself, Kyle. like you're screwed. So I was just like flat out floored by it. I'm like, there's no way. I wanted to not give it a 5, but I'm like, I have nothing that I didn't like about this movie. And I couldn't believe how blown away I was by it. So to me, it's one of my favorite movies in the past like 10, 15 years now. And I gave it a 5. For me, it was a super easy 5.
Oh yeah, dude.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, I love the shit out of it. And the second one, probably better.
How high are you right now, Verno?
No, not at all. I haven't smoked since then.
Maybe that's the problem.
I'm a changed man. I'm a changed man. Dude, I don't know. I think that's just the big thing. I was never bored. I thought everything was fucking fire.
Wow.
I was, you know what I kept getting, just my only issue with it is the whole time I'm like, she's Kevin Bacon's kid, but god damn it, does she got a bad case of Josh Brolin face. She looked just like Josh Brolin. I'm like, I want to know the relationship. Like, is he friends? Are they homies? Like, because there
Kevin Bacon and Josh Brolin fucked and they wound up making this
there,
fucking baby.
There may have been something that
in Hollywood, man, 2 dudes can have a baby. That's just how it is, man. They're rich. They're the elite.
Look at your emojis. There's a pregnant Kevin Bacon emoji on all of our phones now.
Twins. It was based on, yeah, you know.
There's a pregnant Kevin Bacon emoji on all of our phones now. Is that what you're saying?
There's
twins. Sorry.
There's a pregnant man emoji. Type in pregnant. The first thing you're going to see is a man, brother.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's the world we live in right now for a minute. But anyway.
He gets pregnant. It was a junior or something like that.
Oh yeah, Junior.
That's a great movie where Arnold gets pregnant.
That's fucking amazing. Yeah. When 2 actors love each other very, very much, he said. All right. So a 3 from Rockin' Robbie, a 4 from Stu, a 3.75 from Missing Link, and a 5 from Verno after not smoking weed for a week and then smoking and then watching this movie. Loved it.
You should smoke when you talk about it too, man. Maybe you.
No, if I did that, I would just probably, once I put headphones on and there were people, I would just be really quiet. I'd be like, so Robbie, what do you think? Stu, do you have any thoughts? I would.
Whatever.
I wouldn't be able to talk too high.
But
all right. Let us move on to Smile 2. Obviously came out this year, written, directed by Parker Finn. Got the same cinematographer. Sorry, I don't have his name, but starring Naomi Scott, who I was blown away when I looked afterwards. She played Princess Jasmine in the live action Aladdin movie.
Yep.
What? Like what? Like I had no idea. Like they look like when she's in this movie as the way we see her most of it, where she's got the short blonde hair, and then when we get the flashbacks to her as a brunette, there's no connect in that for me. It's like those are 2 different human beings. And then I look at this actress from Aladdin, I'm like, what? There's 3 of them. Like this makes no sense. So I don't know, she's able to look like a lot of different people, evidently. But I thought she was excellent. I thought it was excellent. It's got a lot of the same like qualities that the first one has. Got a lot of jump scares. It's got the really super well lit movie. Like not lit exactly the way like you would see a lot. It's not dark. It's not gritty. It's bright. It looks like a music video, and you're shooting actual music videos in it. But like the sets are so lavish because we're dealing with not a psychiatrist like the first one. This is a pop star, kind of like Lady Gaga.
Pop star.
Esque was kind of what I got, just with the outfits and kind of the style of music and just the look of her and everything. But I watched it twice. First time I was like, I was a little let down. I didn't like it as much. And then the second time I watched it with my wife, and she, just like you guys, she liked it better. And I think it probably is better. It's got like a better supporting cast. The cinematography is maybe a little bit better, but I think the moments I like a little bit better in the first one. Like a lot of the jump scares in this one, it kind of feels like we're waiting for the jump scare, which is what you get. And then are we gonna catch the timing, or is it gonna get us? And there's maybe a few of them too many that play like that. But again, I don't have too many issues with this movie. I fucking love it. I think it's one of the best of the year, which again, Steph and I will be counting down our top 10 2024 horror movies in early January, I think. But there's no way this isn't going to be on my top 10. So, Mr. Rock and Robbie, first time watch. What did you think of Smile 2?
All right, couple preambles. Number one, first time I saw the trailer for Smile 2. I'm in the theater. I don't remember what movie I was watching, but I'm watching the movie. The trailer for Smile 2 starts. I have no idea or concept that they're doing a Smile 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. That's not on my radar. But I'm watching this movie and I go, oh shit, they're doing a Lady Gaga fucking concert movie. And that's crazy that you said Lady Gaga, because that was the vibe I got. Like,
totally.
There's a look. And then I realized, oh shit, this is Smile Part 2. Holy fuck, that's Naomi Scott. Now, I am a huge fan of Naomi Scott. In fact, I would say, especially after watching this movie now, I got a crush on Naomi Scott. Like, girl, call me. Let's hang out. I'll rub your back. I'll bring you hummus and veggies. I don't know what the fuck you want, but
Voss water.
I'll fucking bring you water. We can chug it down together. Oh my God.
I'll give you something to chug.
I hate Disney live action remake of their animated films. I hate all of them. Jungle Book sucks. Lion King is heartless. Maleficent fucking sucks. But Aladdin is dope as shit.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Like, Aladdin's really good. And they gave Jasmine like more agency in that movie. And they gave her like her own song, voiceless, or was it speechless or something like that, right?
Mm.
When I watched that, I fell in love with Jasmine again, right? Because I loved her when I was a fucking kid. Because Jasmine's kind of thick. Anyway, so moving on. She's also the Pink Ranger in the Power Rangers remake movie, right? And I watched that because I'm a big Power Rangers guy. And y'all, I have a thing for Naomi Scott. So as soon as I was like, oh shit, this is Smile 2 and it's Naomi Scott. Holy shit, I'm excited for this movie. I wanted to watch it week of, got this opportunity to watch it. I fucking loved it. Everybody likes to talk about elevated horror nowadays. Smile 2 elevates Smile 1, in my opinion. I fucking love it. My problems with the first Smile movie, where the character, like, it's not about the performance, but the character of the main character, right? There's not a lot to get by. There's not a lot interesting there, right? Like, yeah, she's a therapist, this thing with her mom. There was something more that resonated with me and engaged me and captivated me more in Smile 2 about the pop star dealing with this. The pop star who is trying to rebrand herself after struggling very publicly with addiction issues, with substance abuse and shit like that. That added a layer of interesting, just like, dynamics between characters and the main character and her journey and how we as the audience are relating to her. It blew me the fuck away. Like, I loved it. And I think Sosie Bacon is great in the first one, but Naomi Scott in Smile 2 is fucking amazing. And she is like, if she does more horror movies, she's like near the level of Mia Goth for me. Right? Everybody's about like skinny ass Jenna Ortega. Fuck that shit, right? It's about Mia and Naomi for me right now.
I think you got to be like 14 or younger to give a shit about Jenna Ortega. You know what I mean?
But no, Naomi Scott was great in the movie. I loved it. I loved how they took the theme of the first Smile movie and extrapolated that out to somebody who is in the public eye. Right? Where in the first movie, we had the character who she's a therapist, she's a psychologist, and she's dealing with all this. But in this one, it's like, yo, all four of us here right now, right? We are on YouTube frequently, right? That means that sometimes you got to put on, right? You got to like put on the show when you don't feel like it or when something fucking happens. Like, when you're in the middle of doing a movie night and somebody lets you know Chadwick Boseman just died. And how are we going to do this movie review for some bullshit fucking stupid movie now when we are like hurting? And the death of somebody like Chadwick Boseman or something, like, right? That doesn't personally affect me as much as like, but I've done streams where I was in the midst of learning about a tragedy, you know, or learning about the death of a loved one or something like that, right? And you got to put on that fucking fake smile. And one of the things I loved about the first movie's theme is that it's like, it's from a woman's perspective, and both of them are from a woman's perspective, right? And in the first movie, you're like, okay, how many people tell women you need to smile more? You'd be prettier if you smiled. Mm-hmm. And the idea of what a smile is and what a smile is supposed to portray, but what a smile portrays now. Because now the smile is not a genuine signifier of happiness and contentness. It is now a mask that people wear, right? We're on Facebook. We're off Facebook. I hate you. Shit like that, right? But like adding that to a pop star really elevates that concept for me. Also, Naomi Scott is so hot, dude. She's just so fucking amazing. I'm so into her right now. I loved the opening of this movie. It gave me Hostel 2,
oh my God,
Friday the 13th Part 2 kind of vibes where, yeah, let's continue. The survivor of the last movie dies. What a great, that shit's done in one take.
Crazy. I didn't even notice it the first time I watched it until I started watching the special features and they're talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, duh, it was.
Slight
all
spoilers,
one take.
But when he gets hit by that fucking truck, dude, like I jumped out of my fucking seat, man. Great. It felt like, and that's so a trope thing that's a tropey thing that like a lot of movies do today is they understand the timing of the movie and then they like, it's the way it's off. You mentioned it earlier with the head coming down. It's like 1, 2. Oh shit! It happened before we got to 3. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. I fucking love this movie. I think this movie is so much better than the first one. I think the first movie is really good. I think this movie actually makes the first one better. And honestly, what I think the difference is this: I'm more engaged in this character. There's more things going on there. It is being very clever with its theme and how it's talking about, you know, like I said, we've all been on YouTube. We know what it's like when you're streaming and you're like, maybe you're not up for it. Maybe you're feeling down that day. Maybe you're in a bad spot. Maybe some shit has happened, but you know, you got a show. We commit to things. We fucking go through with it and we put on that fucking happy face. And I think this movie more accurately describes the idea of the horrifying nature of the smile. And basically the horrifying nature of how the smile has become a mask. Smiles are more fake than they used to be, right? So I love that. I love the opening. I love the ending. The ending of this movie, I'm ready for Smile 3. It's a fucking epidemic now, yo.
Yeah.
It's all over. And it's just like, now it's like truly apocalyptic. I like all of that shit. It does still run a little bit long. This is 2 hours and like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
It could be trimmed down a little bit. It could be trimmed down a little bit, but it could also like, I don't know, man. I think there's something else about it. Like it's the CG fucking effects, man. Like they really bother me. And at the end of the film in particular, there's some moments that I was like totally taken out of the movie. Right. So I think it could be trimmed down. I think it could have more practical effects, but everything else I fucking love about this movie. I love every character. I love the beginning. I love the ending. I love everything through the middle. I love Naomi Scott's character. I love her performance. I love her. Naomi, I love you. I love you so much. I would give up everything I had for you.
All right,
just
bro.
So you know. Especially with that haircut, I don't know what it is, dude.
Yeah, the hair looks great, man.
It looks
just
so much
spit
better.
in my fucking mouth, Naomi, please. Like Jesus fucking Christ. I love it, Verno, is what I'm trying to tell you, man.
We didn't get that.
What's that, Link?
Midsummer. What's her name?
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. All right, Florence Pugh's number one. Naomi Scott's just below her. In fact, Naomi and Florence, I would give up everything just to live with you two. I'll do anything.
They're both cute, but they're okay.
This also throws in the idea of addiction. right? It throws
Right,
in the
right.
idea of addiction. And here's something, for instance, like I struggle sometimes with, I have an addictive personality. It came from my mother, right? It's a genetic thing. My mom had it. It was one of the reasons why she died at an early age, right? She had this like addictive personality. And I try to keep everything in fucking check. And one of the things that somebody told me one time was like, when you want to drink or when you want to do a drug, like, and you know that it's not the right time to do it, it's not a celebratory time or it's not like a hangout time, like just guzzle some fucking water. And so there are moments when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, this is too real for me.
Wow.
Where she's just like sucking down that fucking water. Like that's a real legitimate thing that people tell you to do to deal with like an addictive personality. And it just hit me, man. Like it resonated with me. Now I find it hard to separate the performer from the performance. And I'm like, Naomi, I understand you so much more than anybody. Just, by the way, just Naomi. Call me. Call me.
Shit.
555-555-8309.
He's on Instagram. You can find him.
It's not my real number.
Fable said definitely fuck Jenna Ortega, but not the way you're saying it. This is another one. I don't know.
I don't know if that's legal for you, Fable. Anyway, but I'm sorry, man.
I like
so
women.
Long, but man, I love Smile too. I love Smile too, man. I do.
Blame Ty West. I do get that from X. But yeah, I fucking love it, dude. I'm right there with you. That's one of the things, obviously, that sets it apart. I think of it like if you watch any sequel, like look at superhero movies. Like the first Avengers, nobody knows each other. It's not the opening scene in every big sequel is an action scene. Like Avengers 2, the team's already together. They're fighting. They're in that bunker chasing that fucking staff. And that's like a really consistent thing in sequels. It's like you have to like start already going.
Yeah.
And when in the first one, like she's got like Rose has such a like mundane life for the most part. It's like it gives it this chill atmosphere that kind of permeates the whole movie. Is kind of her boring life is part of it. So it feels a little slowed down. In this one, everything's ramped up.
Yeah.
We've got this crazy pop star, so everything's already extra complicated. But what's even more interesting is that she doesn't have accountability like a normal person does. She is in a situation where she can trash fucking dressing room. She can cancel her tour and people will just be like, oh, pop stars are crazy sometimes. She's a rock star. So like that, like it's such a cool dynamic and it makes the relationship that she has with everybody around her way more complicated than a regular person.
It
Her
really
friends,
is.
her mother, like everybody, all these people that are funding her tour. Like it's so much more complex. There's so much more to work with.
We're more interested in learning about her personal life, right? Like we're more interested in learning about her and her friend and what happened, what was the accident. Like that's more engaging. And the other thing, the final thing I'll say is just the music is elevated in this music.
Yeah.
The music is effectual in this movie where it goes, whoa. It does this like usually like Smile likes to do this where they like flip, they invert the frame, right? Because that's clever, I guess. Oh, everything's upside down, right? But they make us feel that with the music. Not only that, they actually released an EP of Naomi Scott, like 4 or 5 songs or something, and they're all fucking dope as shit, dude. They're all dope. I've been listening
to
them all week.
She co-wrote a couple of them.
Yeah, because she's Jasmine. She's
And
amazing. Naomi Scott is the most
we got it, bro.
woman
We
in
got
the
it.
planet right now. So.
It's clear. We got it. Loud and clear.
M. Night Shyamalan's daughter should take notes.
Yeah, no, I thought about that too because like when I went into Trap, this is the and don't get wrong, this music, it's whatever. It's not like fucking good. It's okay pop music, but it's got energy that they didn't have in Trap. And you're gonna base the movie around being a concert.
It's Naomi, okay? So like it's better than just normal, okay?
No,
just so you know, do not talk about my girlfriend like that, all right?
All right, Stu, my brother. What'd you think of this one, man?
Oh man, how do I follow that up? Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I thought it like Robbie said, it definitely elevated the first one in every single way. And I think it did just from the opening scene with Homeboy getting our tie-in from the first movie. I love like after he gets hit, when the music comes in, you just know like it's going to be different. And seeing some of the like the guy he hired and some of the different instruments and all the crazy shit to get sounds and sound design in this movie, I think is fantastic. So I'm glad we gave that some light. But yeah, man, I think this one just fit the frame better, right? With the rock star storyline and all the trappings of fame. And I just love how alone she felt. Like she's surrounded by these people, but so often we're in that apartment and it's just so hollow and silent. And man, the scene with like her dance troupe in there attacking her,
I love that.
That shit was like fantastic. And yeah, like you guys were talking about, like I love how she freaks out and she blames the thing on the stage on the backup dancers, and she blames the dressing room on her assistant, and like she's just completely going off on the rails in all the ways, like that we stereotype pop stars as, or unstable pop stars as being. So I thought that was brilliant, and I thought it made sense for the story we're telling with this demon entity. Like a mind like this, or insecurity and self-doubt like this would be delicious to that, you know what I mean? And I just love that final scene, and like how he came out from the scar from the car accident. Like and then that shot on the stage is so epic. So yeah, and I love the ending, how we only see the audience, you know what I mean? Like, and I thought that was great. And there was a point where we were in that the freezer, right? And we're like, I'm wondering, my whole concern is if the door is going to shut, is she going to get trapped in there? And then all of a sudden, like we come out of there and we're like, oh shit, we're on stage. Wait, none of that was real. And then like, we're trying to catch up with all that. And then like, we're meeting the monster and it's like, oh, like it's one slugfest after another there at the end. And you're like barely holding on and trying to catch up. And I just love watching the audience's reaction. And because I was thinking, man, like it would be a really cool storytelling opportunity. Like everybody sees it, and what is that going to mean for Smile 3, and how widespread is it going to be? So yeah, man. But I think it was definitely a step up in every sense of the word, and I enjoyed it so much more than the original. So yeah, fantastic.
I kind of agree that
I agree. Robbie's lust for homegirl, I think, is well placed. She does an incredible job. She really does. And I think for me,
more than lust. It's a true connection that we have.
Okay, right. Hold on before you go back into all that. I think if we're looking at her versus Sosie Bacon, for me, I got to go with.
You do. Am I the only one that see? Okay, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's fucking great, but I love, like, she is screaming and fucking yelling, and it's this big performance. I think that's easier to do than what Sophie Bacon did. I don't think
that's your point.
You know what I mean? I think Sophie Bacon is going to have trauma from that movie for the rest of her fucking life.
But Sophie or whatever, she didn't have to learn like choreography.
No, fair enough. Right? Fair enough. But I mean, I'm still more impressed personally with the performance as what she puts on her face. She's so much more emotive, and I feel her pain more. And I mean, don't get wrong. I'm not like saying she's not incredible. Naomi Campbell's incredible this one, but there's a difference in their performance. And Sosie's is smaller and more intimate, and I connect with her a lot more than I do the other one.
See, I kind of disagree. Like I feel like the second one, like because I feel like her pain was more palpable. Like it was alluded to in the first one, but we never really see anything. There's no really flashback scenes. This one we get a flashback scene, so it's like it kind of really puts you in a state of where she's at.
No,
it could be like, it could be just like not even performance wise. I think it has to do with like how the character was written, the script, because
that
seems more fleshed out.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like you're right. They wrote her in some interesting backstory. The car bit, just even the way that looks is so badass. But just what's on their faces. If I'm comparing whose face was acting better, like I read more emotion on Sosie's face than Naomi Scott.
To give credit to Sosie, that you got to imagine, like that cat scene, where she's at the birthday party, like she pulls that off so well. For the average person to imagine trying to put yourself in that headspace to make that seem like a natural thing, that's right. She's a great actress. Yeah,
I want to call sign. I want to, brother.
Smile 2's got one of those heretics on my watch list for sure. Right?
Yeah.
And Naomi Scott handles like another like embarrassment type performance, just like Sosie does in the first one, right? Where
Right.
you talking about the cat scene, but in this one, there's that charity scene.
Right.
Her lipstick's
She
off, and
throws
she's
that
saying this
old
weird.
woman on the table.
Like,
I'll take the
dude, she
cat
just
scene.
pushes that fucking.
Here,
Like,
some
oh
part
my
of some
God.
evil part of me laughed at that.
It's a little harder to cry and cute it is to kind of act a fool, you know, a little off kilter, you know, where it's so, or Pink Power Ranger was she's acting a little crazy, you know. And then don't get me wrong, she had some scenes in this film where she had to bring the tears, but just the way Sosie, you know, like it felt very natural, you know, that her breaking down, like being surprised, seeing the cat and being hysterical, you
this
know.
wasn't me. You gotta
Bro-
believe me. I always think of Chappelle saying, "You
Yeah,
gotta
like
fucking
I
believe
kind of
me."
imagine.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
just takes that same thing and just it just elevates it in a different perspective.
I'll take
right?
the cat scene over the charity scene any day of the week. My opinion. Like I like the cat scene.
I would, man. I don't
The other
know,
one,
man.
it's not.
But
I
that's my
get it.
girlfriend we're talking about. Okay, so
What do you? Hey, real quick, like I'll ask you this. What do you like better, the opening scene of Smile 1 or the opening scene of Smile 2? And all you
Two.
comment, you do, right? I get it.
It's got
I
my
get
man's
it.
in it.
Right.
Oh, for real.
I
Who's my
gotta
man?
say I kind of with you, but it's not as you couldn't have the second scene without the first scene. The first scene's more iconic, like it's got a this first scene in Smile 1's got a larger place in horror history, but Smile 2 is kind of fucking cooler. You got guns
Yeah.
and you got the one shot, and it's just the ending, the way that it's built up, where you don't know that the fucking kid's there. You know what I mean? The druggy kid's there. You're like, son of a bitch. Then he goes to leave, and there's the gang members are pulling up. It's like, oh shit! Like it amps up brilliantly.
I think it's more effective too than the first one, to be honest, just because it's like it conveys more information. Like as a first time viewer, I feel like you could pick up on him being so erratic and saying, you know, oh, he's like, don't die on me, don't die on me, that he's trying to do something. Then when he runs off on that one dude, you know, you can really, I mean, maybe not everybody, but you could easily pick up like, oh, he's trying to escape a curse or something, you know.
Right.
Where first one, you're just kind of left in the dark, like, what the fuck was that? You know, it is. It's probably more iconic because you're like, what the shit, you know, first time watch. But I feel like the second one is conveying, it's more engaging just because there's so much, like you said, so many different things going on. But it's
just
conveying.
cooler. It's just cool as shit. I mean, the reason I bring it up is because wow, like the dude, like he's got two of the coolest opening scenes in any movies that I've seen in a long time. In his first two movies, like the guy, like I'm so excited about. Like I'm so excited to be excited about Parker Finn. Like,
yeah.
Am I saying that right? Like not a name I knew until digging into this, and I'd seen Smile. It's like, damn, I should have been more excited about this guy.
I can't wait till we get to see him do something outside of Smile after he makes Smile 6.
Me too. Or until he's gonna make a Smile 1943. Something like that. That's kind of what I want to see him go back, take the chain back.
Well, that's one thing that doesn't get elaborated in either of these two movies is where does this start?
Yeah.
And I've just recently done a rewatch of the a watch for the first time of the Hell House LLC films. I've watched all 4 of those now, right? I like how they're trying to go backwards while going forwards. But by the way, those movies pale in comparison to either of these two Smile movies, you know? But like, I don't know. Like, I would love the idea of developing where this curse starts.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Eventually.
Like, I would love that. And I love that they're holding on to that, dude.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
He's being smart about it so far. And he's game.
He's going to make a movie called Frown one day, and that's when we know his career is over.
He said something along the lines of like, I think we've just taken one scoop out of the ocean that is the Smile universe. Like he's game to make a shit. He's like, I think it would be very cool to have a ton of these. So it's like, so do I. Like, don't start passing them off to other people, but do other things in between.
Exactly. It'd be a great thing to have
a
Smile franchise with one voice.
Right.
Right. Well, this is not something we typically get in franchises.
Hell yeah. Link, I don't know. Yeah.
Overall thoughts. I don't know. I'm right there with you guys. I loved it. Like I said earlier, I think every problem I had with the first one was redeemed, rectified. And this one, I found the concept of the character more intriguing. Her being a pop star, and you know how celebrities are constantly under the micro media being under, you know, scrutinized, and everything they do is under a fucking magnifying glass. So it's like, you know, and at the same time, the celebrities have a bunch of yes men, you know. So it's like where it's like in the first role, she's an everyday person who can't trust her senses, and people are telling her crazy. In this one, she can't trust her sense. She really can't trust shit, because it's like, even if she's like you said like earlier, I think it was Robbie. She can trash a fucking room, blaming on somebody else, and everyone's peachy keen. You know, she can do some fuck shit.
Her mom's like, I don't care about that. We'll clean that up. But anyway,
yeah. So she, she can't really tell. Like it's more wear and tear on her, to be honest, because of where she's, the character's status in life, her being a pop star, and then the other one being a just everyday person, blue collar psychologist, therapist. Just more stylish. This one, supporting cast was more, I think you said, Bruno, way more likable.
Yeah.
Especially
Gemma. Gemma was great.
Yeah,
like, she was just a cool ass character. My wife, I would almost hate to be my wife watching movies, because she puts this in. Soon as she texts Gemma, or she's calling Jenna, she's like, "Bitch, you're talking to yourself." Like, I didn't say anything, but like, it did not fool her at all. Like, a bunch of things throughout this movie didn't fool her at all. And I'm not like trying to predict a movie when I'm watching it. I'm just watching it in the moment. I'm not really trying to figure out what's going to happen. And she's nailing everything. I'm like, you are ruining this movie for yourself. Just fucking enjoy it.
I mean, sometimes that's a fun, it's a fun thing, because you're so engaged in the story that you're trying to process.
Right.
It can be either flip of the coin, because sometimes it can be so bad that you're like, oh my God, I see what's coming. But on the other side, it can be like, you're so engaged, you're trying to piece it together. Like, ooh, I know that's not that, that they're the killer. I can tell that they're fucking bullshitting. But no, yeah, I think this movie was way more better shot. I don't even know if it's pacing, but I don't think either of these movies need to be 2 hours. I don't think they're necessarily boring, but I think they could be trimmed and refined.
145 would be good for both of these movies, right?
Yeah, there's a little more indulgence with these, because it's like, I feel like kind of, I don't say meandered, but like the first half, I was like, okay, I get it. She's cursed. Like, if you've seen the first one, you already know what the deal is. Like, let's get into the meat of this.
When I was like, when it got 55 minutes into the movie, I remember checking it, and it seemed like a break in the movie, and I was like, God damn, I feel like the movie's almost just kind of starting, and we're an hour deep into it. But then by the end of it, like, there's nothing. I feel you. Like, obviously, any movie that's fucking 2 hours and you're trying to scare people, your movie's probably too long.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's no scenes that I didn't like. I never find myself bored at all or checked out. Like, I'm laser focused, engaged in the movie the whole time. So
I agree with that, especially part two. Yeah.
Real quick, I want to speak on the mythology bit real quick. I thought it was more interesting how they delivered it in this one, just because she already can't trust her senses, and she gets some fucking random dude text, they're trying to contact her. So,
that is one thing that bothers me about the movie, is the random, let's stop your fucking heart. Like, is that a real fucking thing? Like, can we just like,
I thought that was cool. I thought, like, at least
it's cool, but it's in every goddamn thing I watch, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like
it was like
it was an interesting idea of how to stop the curse, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, their goal for the movie, like, it was better than like, okay, here's what you got to do. You got to kill somebody. Right. That would have been redundant.
Yeah, because that's what even because when she first heard about it, she's like, I have to die, bro. Like, that's the catch. Like, I fucking losing either way. But then he's like, there is a catch, but it was cooler than she's got to fucking bury a body and take a pendant, destroy the shit, or some
take a piss on Freddy's bones or some shit like that, right?
Wasn't it? It was very Freddy Krueger-esque.
Yeah,
it's just like, Nancy, you got to go into the dream and take them out. Go in and stab yourself.
I would love to see the Smile entity developed a little bit more as we go forward, because if we do a third movie, it's got to be an epidemic, unless you're pulling a Halloween 5 and you're going to undercut the ending of the previous film, right? Which you don't need to do, because this movie is great and you have a great escalation sequence going on.
Hard to write though, because I don't want I want it focused on one character in a way, unless he's got some brilliant idea. That's like, how do you do this?
Cast Devin Sawa as the president, and as the president, he's handling it, right?
Stu, I know you got to go, and I want to wrap this bad boy up before Fable gets started anyway. But Stu, I'm gonna send it to you to rate it, and then I know you got a dip.
Yeah, man. Thank you. 5 for me, easy 5. This one was fantastic. better than the original in so many ways, and captivating every step of the way. I love the like like I said, the setting of the rock star lifestyle to kind of like really, I think, take these what this movie is trying to do, or what the theme of this movie or these set of movies is trying to do, and really put it in the wheelhouse where it can really do some damage and some cool things. But so many memorable scenes from this one. Easy 5 for me. Thank y'all for having me. I'll catch you on the flip side.
Hell yeah, brother. Have fun over at Blame
Love you,
Fable
Stu.
again.
Man. Love you guys.
Love you, homie. One collection down. Again, the return of the hashtag Blame Fable minus the amazing friends, but
It's
still, with the amazing,
right?
amazing
It's
friends.
the all new, all different. Yeah, I like how he's committing to that bit, right?
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I think we've covered a lot of what I wanted to say. Gemma was great. I guess I already said the supporting cast better, the world more interesting, the music fucking better, the opening scene fire, and the performance really, really, really good.
And do you like the ending? What do you think about the ending, Verno? Do you love that? I love that ending.
I love the shit out of the ending. The first bit where I'm like, all of a sudden she's on stage. I'm like, at first I was questioning, how did this happen? Like, but clearly she went to the dressing room. She acted normal in front of everybody. She got dressed and went out. You know what I mean? There's a little bit, the rules seem a little bit loose. Just like the other
it's just like in the first one, right? Where like she doesn't remember killing the cat, but she did that with the entity working through her
and the phone call.
right?
Oh yeah. Well, did the ending remind you of The Substance? The ending of The Substance?
Oh, I haven't seen The Substance yet, man.
It didn't, but it should have. Yeah,
I really want to though. Like that's at the top of my list right now.
Go get
y'all just covered it, didn't you?
Yeah, do a free 7-day trial on Mubi through your Amazon. You watch that bad boy for free.
Everybody, I'm ready. I really want to watch that movie, man.
It's fucking fantastic. It's another one of the best.
How's Oddity? Year. Is Oddity good? Because I was thinking about watching that.
One of the best of the year.
It is one of the best of the years.
Fire, dude.
Okay. Fire. At first, I thought you said nope.
Yeah. No, I was saying like, I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but that means I liked it.
Okay, cool.
Cool. It's the more, not lesser known, but indie. You know, it doesn't have any big names in it or big directors. It's just
Shudder and Amazon Prime keep trying to get me to watch Oddity, and I'm like,
totally should.
Yeah, I should. Why am I wasting time with Hell House right now?
That's hilarious. Oh shit, I forgot. There's a whole thing I wanted to do. We don't have the fucking audience to do what I wanted to do, honestly, because we got fucking 2 people in here.
Wait, it's the Friday after. It's Black Friday.
I know.
It's one of those things.
You know what? We're gonna make this. We're gonna decide what we're gonna be covering next week. I should have fucking had Stu vote on this. We might decide afterwards, Link, you and I and Stu, because there's a few things that I wanted to do. But first thing I want to do before we get out of here is let's rate this bad boy. Where are you at on Smile 2, Robbie? And any other thoughts you got?
Jesus, man. I was so fucking high on this movie. Like, I feel like I should go higher than my initial thoughts. My initial thoughts are 4 out of 5. Like, I initially gave the first Smile a 3.5, and on the rewatch dropped it down to a 3. So I gave this one a 4. But honestly, I mean, I think it elevates the whole concept. I really think that the character is more engaging than the character in the first one. I love the beginning and the opening even more than the first one. The music is better. And Naomi Scott is just so Naomi Scott, more like Naomi Hot. I will go ahead and I'll go ahead and do this. I'm going to retroactively change my Smile score to a 3.5 and give a Smile 2 a 4.5.
I've had to do that before too when we did a double feature. I'm like, now that I look at where I graded this one,
this movie's great, man. I love it. It's worth watching. It's better than the first one, and that's a rarity, in my opinion.
Isn't that fucking great? Like, this has to put it on the list with Godfather 2 and the handful of other ones. Like, it's better than the first one, and the first one, in my opinion, is fire. Evan's in the building. Shit, you know what? I mean, we got enough important people. Evan, chill. Don't leave. We're gonna figure out what we're covering next week. I want your guys' opinion.
They got some good suggestions. Yeah.
Link, where you at on the score for Smile 2, my brother?
I I'm just being picky. This is, I'm gonna get a 4.69, but my pacing. I just feel like an hour 45 would have been such an easy 5. Like no
Yeah.
unquestionable. But there are a few, even though it's not bad, but there were parts where I caught myself like, like you said earlier, when it's like 55 minutes into the movie and you're like, shit, man, how much,
Yeah.
what really happened, and we got like an hour left, and but it was such a minor thing because it was more consistent and then the pacing to me than the first one. So that's a nitpick, but I'll go with 4.69. It's a damn near, but second watch will probably, this is a first time watch. Haven't only watched it once, so second time watch will probably boost it to a 5. Yeah, it
What's
was
really
just
cool is it seems like we're all saying that so far we haven't gotten Verno's score, but like
Oh,
seems
it's
like we're all saying part 2 is better than the first one.
I
which
think
is cool.
part 1, I gave it a 5. I thought it was fucking incredible. No notes, perfect film for me. Perfect film. And this one's better. Like, I think it's just a little bit, but it's just a little bit more exciting. I don't even know if it is better because it doesn't necessarily have the atmosphere that the first one does. And I think some of the moments hit me a little bit harder in the first one, but it's fucking awesome. It's just incredibly entertaining. So, first thing I'll say, dun, 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 Friday the 13th, December 13th. We're giving this one away, and I'm gonna give one away to the panel too. I gotta find a mask.
nice.
We're gonna do some trivia. You guys in the chat will get to win this one right here, and you guys on the panel will win another one. I'll either make another
Fuck
one
yeah,
or I'll give
dude.
you
Go
one
ahead
that
and start sending it to me. Go ahead and mail it. Let's do
I
it.
I know we got to start studying up. We got to start studying up.
What's
But
do we know the focus of the trivia? Like, is it
it's gonna be Friday the 13th themed trivia.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now you guys in the chat, I'm glad we got a handful more of you here right now. So call sign, Chill, Evan, and you guys in the chat. I need your guys' help. So here was the plan. Next week we were definitely, and we still could be, we were going to do Alien Romulus. It just dropped. It's on Hulu, Disney Plus, however you're finding your Alien movie. Badass, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it when I saw it in the theater, and I will be very happy to do this next week. But then I'm looking, it's like I'm kind of going against my plan for this show a little bit because I've been doing a lot of new shit, and not my goal is to do the widest variety of horror movies possible. And I feel like we haven't really done any 80s or 70s or 90s in a bit, but I'm doing this for you guys. Chill, Evan, call sign. I'm doing this for you anyway. So you guys tell me what you want. We can do Alien Romulus next Thursday, or we can do a 2000s movie. We can do House of a Thousand Corpses next Friday. That'd be fucking dope. I'd be all about that. Or we could do a 90s movie. We could do Scream 2 next Friday. How fucking badass would that be? Or we could do Creep Show. So all 4.
This is going to be a Friday show, not a Thursday show.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Okay.
Yes. Next Thursday, 8:00 Central Standard or fucking daylight time for now until we get rid of daylight saving time. It's coming. I've heard some inside shit. But so yeah, you guys, Robbie, you can have a vote too.
We're in standard time right now, by the way.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what okay, well, that's what I meant then. So either Creep Show, Creep 2, House of a Thousand Corpses, or Alien Romulus. I'd be very excited to do any of them next Thursday. Again, Alien Romulus,
dude.
House of a Thousand, Scream 2, or Creep Show. What do you guys want?
Almost not fair.
Kick us off. Link, what do you want to do?
Man, it's just not fair, man. Like,
we got one vote for Hell.
But I've been loving the Screams. I'd be really down to cover Scream 2. I haven't seen that in a while. When we did Scream 1 like a month ago, a few weeks ago, that was a great time. So I think Scream 2 would be dope.
All right, we got one vote for Scream 2.
Yes.
One vote for Scream 2, one vote for House of a Thousand Corpses. Anybody in the chat? Chill, Evan, where you at? Or I'm sorry, Evan, he's down for House of a Thousand Corpses. Chill, are you in here? Give me a vote. Robbie, what would you vote? I know you're I don't know if you're wanting to come or not, but what would you vote for?
I'm always wanting to come. But I love what you do here on BSC, and I would love to be a part of every single episode And I would love to be a part of any single one of these conversations. Alien, Scream, House, or what's the other one? Creepshow. Oh my God. You know what? My vote's for the best Rob Zombie film, House of a Thousand Corpses.
Ooh.
I thought I hated Rob Zombie films until I rewatched House of a Thousand Corpses. And I love that film. And here's my hot take. This movie slays, if you will, Devil's Rejects. We all know that 3 from Hell sucks ass, right? But like, I think House of a Thousand Corpses is his best film, man. I really do. So I'll vote for that one. House.
All right. So we have 2 for House of a Thousand.
If you do House, if House wins out, I might try to make it. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I got to talk to my girlfriends, but like, I would love to revisit House.
I'll tell you what, we need another vote because we've got Link went Scream 2. We have 2 votes.
I'll make it. I'll give it that. I'll give it to House. Just so that's where it's leaning.
Wow, that was the last one that I added, man. Ooh, you know what? Oh, we got another vote for Alien Romulus, which would make 2. I could tie it up. That might be where my vote is, just because like that is, I want to rewatch that movie. I want to do it. I want to do Scream 2 too. House of a Thousand Corpses probably be the one I'd be least get excited to do.
Really?
But I would do it. I would do
is your number one vote for Romulus? Is that what it is?
Well, if
I was watching Romulus last night. It's great. The rewatch, yes.
I think Romulus, if it just hit Hulu and Disney Plus, you said Romulus is more like it could be more of a thing than House of a Thousand Corpses, but House of a Thousand Corpses is actually a really good fucking movie.
No, I get it, and I like.
They're all good movies, though. All 4 of those movies are great, dude. Actually, honestly, the best out of all 4 of them is Creepshow, in my opinion.
I get that. I feel that, and they would all be great conversations. I'm gonna vote Alien Romulus and hope one other person comes in and votes. We need one more vote. We're tied up. House of a Thousand Corpses has 3. Alien has 3.
One more vote, and that vote's gonna be for like fucking Creepshow.
I need a tie. Well, I'll tell you what. Somebody that voted
tiebreaker.
Yeah, somebody give me a tiebreaker vote. We got a couple more people that just joined. What's that, Link?
I was gonna say if they don't choose it, I was gonna say I'll change my vote once again.
It's up for Chill Out. It's up to Chill Out Man right now, right?
Where's Chill? Chill. I need you to vote.
Chill. You have the future of Blood Splatter Chatter in your hands right now.
Your hands. The next person to vote for either House of a Thousand Corpses or Alien Romulus, you pick what we are doing next week. We had a couple people pop in. Put a vote, or I'm gonna look like a jackass just sitting here begging for one person to vote.
We're all waiting while Fable's going live. We're all just like, somebody vote.
Somebody please vote. House of a Thousand Corpses or Alien Romulus. I'll do a coin flip if it comes down to it.
Chill is always
behind. Chill, where you at? Yeah, Chill is behind. Chill, wake the fuck up.
Come on, man. What's up?
Right in the chat. He might see the chat before he hears the audio.
Well, who's got the hottest fucking people in it? House of a Thousand Corpses or Scream 2? That's usually where Chill Out Man's gonna lie. It's who has the hottest people, and you're right. It is Scream 2.
Blame Fable Show
you got
is starting
Timothy
right
Olyphant
now.
in Scream 2, and he's the hottest out of all of them, yo.
The freaky Tarantino film student.
I'm just glad that back in the 90s, in 1997, Tarantino was the problematic director, not Dario Argento like it is today.
That's right. All right. Well, I'm going to give it a 10-second in my head count. If we don't get a vote,
Chill Out Man is passed out right now with his mouth on a dick or something. I don't know what's going on. We need
one more vote. What do you guys in the chat? Do you House of a Thousand Chill says?
Right!
Please come through. Chip. All right. That's what we're doing then.
I'll fucking be here. Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right, we got.
I'll say that boldly now, committed. But I got to talk to my girlfriend. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, all good. All right, so hell yeah, man! I'm very excited, man. This is a fantastic review. We did a smile. I'm glad you guys were able to make it. I'm glad we all enjoyed the movies, especially myself. I'm glad I found like some of my new favorite fucking movies. I could not believe how much I enjoyed these flicks. But again, House of 1,000 Corpses next week. Be there or be square. And the Blame Fable show going on right now on One Collection Down on YouTube. Go check it out. Robbie, my brother. Dun, 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 dun. Double impact, baby.
Oh, yeah, dude. We're starting off Van Damme December. Van Damme's been very good to the PCP channel. Our most viewed video ever is our Cyborg by Van Damme movie review, which was over 600,000 views for a live stream, which is insane to me.
Wow.
So let's see if we can replicate that. We're Double Impact. This was the PCP poll winner. Y'all chose Double Impact. So don't complain. But we're ready for it. We're ready to go. Monday night, y'all. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. I appreciate all you guys out there. Again, join us all. We'll be back here next Thursday to talk House of 1,000 Corpses.